Do you usually buy roasted chicken outside? Many places pull you in with glossy skin, steady heat drifting from the counter, and that soft herbal scent rising through warm air. Golden edges catch the light juices glisten on the tray, and the carving knife moves in a slow, confident line that promises comfort without effort. The scene feels honest until the truth steps forward. Some of those birds sit far longer than they should. Some come from factories where flavor is shaped by brine, not by time. Some travel through crowded prep rooms reheated again and again until the meat loses its character. What looks tender can hide shortcuts that taste nothing like a real roasted bird. So today we walk through 5 places you should avoid when buying roasted turkey, and 2 that handle the bird with the care it deserves. Let's break the illusion and keep your plate safe. 1 Walmart great value. Warm air sits inside the Walmart deli like a soft blanket, and the smell of roasted meat drifts in slow circles. Shiny slices rest under the yellow lamps, each one holding a smooth sheen that looks harmless at first glance. The tray sits steady on the counter, neat and predictable with no rough edges and no signs of uneven roasting. It is the kind of scene that draws people in with quiet confidence, the kind that whispers, "Just take this home, dinner is already solved." Yet the truth behind that comfort begins much farther from this counter. Many ready-to-eat or pre-sliced turkey products sold at major chains, including Walmart, come from large processing plants that handle huge volumes every day. These plants rely on tight schedules, industrial lines, and long supply routes. By contrast, real roasted turkey that comes from an oven carries the marks of its own journey uneven, browning a slight crackle on the skin, a scent that builds as it rests. From that moment of comparison, the picture starts to shift. At the same time, the idea of simple roasted turkey becomes less certain. Before long, the buyer stands in front of a tray shaped more by scale than by craft. The shaping itself tells a story. Many industrial turkey products are built through heavy brining. The meat pulls in water until it looks plump and smooth, and injected solutions help it keep that look through long storage and long transport. Along the way, the edges grow too perfect. From here, each slice falls with the same thickness and the same color, almost like it was measured by a machine instead of shaped by actual heat. After that, the texture starts to lean towards softness that does not come from slow roasting. By then, the bird becomes something designed to look dependable, not something designed to taste like a roasted bird from a kitchen oven. When this turkey reaches a home kitchen, the small signs reveal themselves in quiet ways. A slice placed on a cutting board sometimes leaves a thin pool of water. A bite might feel gentle in the wrong direction, soft in the center, yet oddly firm at the outer edge. As a result, the flavor sits flat. By then, the salt speaks louder than the turkey. From that point on, the illusion of roasted comfort starts to slip. Following that, the meal feels like a compromise that grew slowly across the supply chain, not a choice the shopper made with clear eyes. Many people keep buying it because the habit runs deep. Some buy it because it is close to the checkout. Others rely on it because time feels short and energy feels even shorter. Later on, someone might notice the taste fading quickly once the slice cools. In another moment, a person might hold a piece between their fingers and wonder why it bends without resistance. After dinner, the leftovers sit inside a plastic box, tidy and pale, waiting for someone who might not even want them. A story from an older shopper brings this feeling into focus. She buys Walmart turkey often because it fits her fixed income and keeps meals steady through the week. She does not ask for perfection. She only asks for something that feels real enough to stand beside a bit of bread and a bit of mustard. One evening, she serves sandwiches to her son and his wife. They eat politely, they smile. No one says anything until a small moment of honesty slips through. "It tastes a little soft today." She nods, not hurt, not angry, only tired of foods that pretend to be more than they are. She puts the tray away, lifts the lid once, and closes it again. A small sigh passes through the room. It is quiet, but it carries weight. From here, the takeaway settles in with calm clarity. Turkey shaped for price and volume will not carry the depth or honesty of a bird roasted with intention. Walmart is simply one example of a much larger pattern that stretches across the country. The next counter, the next store, the next chain. Each one holds its own version of the same story. And we will walk through them one by one so you can choose with sharper eyes. 2 Kroger store brand oven roasted turkey. A man stands at the Kroger deli, hands tucked into his jacket, watching slices fall in soft layers. The counter looks clean. The lighting stays steady and the routine feels familiar. The staff shifts the turkey log into place, presses the slicer forward and stacks new pieces on a sheet of wax paper. Nothing calls attention to itself. On the other hand, that sense of ease hides a deeper pattern. During that moment, numbers tell a story that trays cannot show. National Nutrition Surveys group mass-market deli turkey among the highest sodium foods people eat day after day. From the side medical guidance links steady sodium intake to rising blood pressure over time. Dr. Cheryl Anderson of the American Heart Association puts it simply, sodium builds pressure quietly. From that point, store-brand turkey becomes more than a quick sandwich filler. In parallel, the list of added broth stabilizers and salt-holding compounds shapes each slice. Later on, these ingredients keep moisture steady through long hours behind the counter. Kroger is not unusual here. Many supermarkets follow the same model because it keeps prices stable and supply dependable. Over time, these details affect the body in subtle ways. By comparison, steady salt intake nudges numbers upward bit by bit. From that angle, the kidneys push harder to balance fluids. Water stays in the tissues longer than it should. Dr. Lawrence Apple from Johns Hopkins notes small excess compound, and many people never notice until numbers change. His words do not dramatize anything, but they carry weight because they describe what happens slowly. As a result, long stretches of eating this kind of deli turkey can shape someone's health more than expected. Moving forward, the body adjusts by holding extra water after salty meals. In that phase, rings may feel tighter, ankles may feel swollen at night, and mornings may start with a heavier pulse. None of these signs feel dramatic. Each one arrives lightly, almost casually. A man named Frank Delaney knows this pattern well. For more than 10 years, he stopped at Kroger every Thursday afternoon. He chose the same store-brand roasted turkey because it matched his budget and kept lunches simple. Frank believed routine protected him. He liked the predictability, same flavor, same price, same place on the shelf. He never connected those slices to anything beyond convenience. Later that week, something shifted. Frank felt a mild pressure in his chest during a walk around the block. A slight swelling showed up in his hands at night. He thought it came from age or from a warm day or from a tight watch strap. A regular checkup followed a few days later. His doctor noted early-stage elevated blood pressure. No major danger, no urgent warning. Only a clear reminder that his daily habits mattered more than he assumed. From another view, the diagnosis came as a small nudge rather than a blow. Frank sat in his car after the appointment thinking about simple steps he could take. His mind went straight to his Thursday routine at Kroger. He remembered the soft edges of the slices, the salty hit on the tongue, the way he ate them without much thought. A long inhale passed through his chest. A decision formed without drama: take a break from the oily deli turkey for a while. He did not swear it off forever. He simply gave his body a chance to reset. Frank switched to fresh chicken at home, boiled for 20 minutes with the garlic and pepper. The taste surprised him. The meat felt firmer, the salt stayed mild, and his hands looked less puffy in the morning. He told a friend he never realized how much those slices shaped how he felt until he stopped. In that moment, the lesson becomes clear. Simple foods can mean more than they appear. Numbers change slowly, but they do change. A store-brand roasted turkey sitting in a clean Kroger deli case may seem harmless, yet daily repetition can push the body in a direction people do not feel until much later. Moving forward, the pattern continues across many chains, each with its own kind of disappointment. The next counter shows a different twist on this same story, and the next brand holds another gap between promise and reality. We turn now to a place where clean labels suggest purity, yet the flavor often drifts further from real roasted turkey than most expect. 3 Target Market Pantry Oven Roasted Turkey. What do we really expect when we pick up Target's Market Pantry Roasted Turkey? The package sits clean on the shelf. The slices look tidy behind the film. The soft red label signals order. Everything feels simple, made to slip into any lunchbox or quick dinner without raising a question. Even then, the neat look sits on top of a much broader system. By that point, the turkey has already moved through large processors designed to meet massive demand across hundreds of Target stores. After a breath, the focus shifts from cooking to output, from flavor development to supply reliability. In the end, the system works because shoppers arrive expecting the same look and the same feel every single time. Under those conditions, the production structure follows a strict pace. From that frame, uniformity becomes the cornerstone. Within that pace, the turkey must hold moisture for long stretches, survive long transport chains, and stay stable in chilled storage. Production lines rely on added brine to protect weight. Stabilizers preserve color. Moisture binders prevent the slices from drying out. None of these steps represent wrongdoing. They simply reflect how high-volume food keeps moving. Over that span, the shaping becomes visible. At this scale, each slice needs to fall with a predictable thickness. Beyond that point, the texture must stay smooth and even. A sealed pack on a Target shelf may sit longer than a fresh roast ever could, yet the slices remain glossy and soft, because that is how they were engineered. These traits match the rhythm of a busy household that needs fast, steady options. From this angle, the contrast with real roasted turkey becomes clearer. During that moment, a true oven-roasted bird carries uneven, crisp edges along the skin. Across that line, the aroma rises in warm waves, pulling forward herbs' fat and slow-release juices. Fibers pull apart gently after steady heat unwinds them. The surface feels firm where the heat made contact. The flavor deepens as the bird rests, growing richer with every minute. After a moment, market pantry slices show a different identity. From this angle, the edges bend too easily. During that pause, the aroma stays faint and slips away almost instantly. Across that line, the color holds an even, pale tone, missing the darker gold and small blisters that roasting naturally brings. A bite feels mild, almost soft, with a salt echo that fades before the next one arrives. These traits are not faults. They only mark the difference between industrial shaping and genuine roasting. In that listing, a market pantry roasted turkey product once appeared in a USDA EFSIS recall for labeling or contamination factors. Under that note, the reminder sits plainly: chains of this size face huge logistical complexity. From that context, these events reflect the reality of broad networks rather than clear mistakes. High-volume systems carry high-volume challenges. As things stand, the market pantry turkey fulfills the job it was built for. Within this model, speed outruns nuance. By the nature of scale, companies must prioritize predictable texture, steady moisture, long shelf life, and low waste. Those needs shape the final product more than any aspiration of slow roasting. Industrial food aims for steadiness. Home-cooked poultry aims for depth. Each meets a different need, and neither replaces the other. Across the wider market, these compromises appear everywhere. The pressure to stock full shelves, feed large communities, and keep prices within reach pushes every chain toward methods that guarantee efficiency. Flavor variation gets trimmed. Texture becomes uniform. Roasted character steps back. These patterns form the structure of modern food, not an exception within it. At this point, awareness becomes the useful tool. A shopper who understands the system behind market pantry turkey knows what they are paying for: convenience designed to be stable, not expressive. A person who wants roasted complexity may seek out other options when that depth matters. The best shield is understanding, recognizing the strengths, accepting the limits, and choosing with a clear view. Moving forward, the pattern shifts slightly at the next large chain. Costco does not lean on clean design the way Target does. Instead, Costco leans on mass consistency, bulk preparation, and sweeping demand. The forces behind it are similar, but the outcome carries its own shape. We step toward that counter with a more informed mindset. For Costco Kirkland Signature Oven Roasted Turkey Breast. Costco's Kirkland Signature Oven Roasted Turkey is built through high-volume processing, injected brines and stabilizing compounds that keep every slice nearly identical. For that matter, gluten-free watchdog groups have noted the yeast extract, and the may contain warnings tied to its formulation. Across that field, Kirkland turkey belongs to the category of deli meats controlled for texture, weight, and performance, rather than natural roasted character. Within this frame, the product works exactly as designed. From this angle, the present version shows its personality right away. Under this light, the slices look pale with a soft shine. After one breath, the aroma rises quickly but disappears in seconds. A gentle bend forms when lifted, and the edge folds without resistance. The first bite feels mild, carrying a light salt note instead of a warm, roasted presence. The surface stays smooth, almost polished, and heat returns slowly when warmed in a pan, as if the structure was meant to remain steady more than expressive. The whole product signals convenience and uniformity. By contrast, earlier years at Costco carried a different profile. In earlier years, the Kirkland turkey breast had a slightly firmer structure. Over that span, the slices held a deeper roasted scent that traveled a bit farther when the pack opened. A trace of uneven browning showed up along the outer edge in some batches. The fibers felt more defined, especially near the center where slow heat tended to leave a richer flavor. Scaling up gradually softened those traits not from neglect, but from the natural pull of mass production. Larger volumes create tighter controls. Tighter controls create flatter profiles. The result shifts the turkey toward reliability rather than personality. Across reviews, customers have noticed the shift. In many comments, people say things like tastes milder than last year, feels softer now, or still good, but different. Through that lens, the change reads less like a flaw and more like a quiet adjustment in a product that must fit millions of shopping carts. One reviewer wrote, "Used to have more flavor, now it feels processed." The remark carries no anger. It only reflects a small sense of loss, the kind that happens when a familiar food drifts from what someone remembers. Foods tied to routine hold weight, and even a slight change can nudge a person's mood. In that pause, a simple moment inside a Costco aisle reveals the shift clearly. After a heartbeat, a housewife stops in front of the trays of Kirkland turkey. From her stance, the cold air from the case brushes her hands as she looks at the neat rows of identical packs. She remembers the earlier versions with a bit more depth, a bit more roasted scent, and a firmer bite that once made sandwiches feel fuller. She lifts one pack, turning it slightly in the light. The slices look perfect, almost too perfect, as if shaped for speed more than story. She sets the pack back not out of frustration, but from a quiet decision that today she wants something closer to what she remembers. She walks away without rushing, carrying the sense that these trays belong to a different time than the one she is seeking now. A single image remains after she leaves. Under the warehouse lights, the turkey trays sit in a silver row, glossy and appealing in their own way. They reflect the system that produced them, fast, stable, efficient. They promise convenience. They wait for hands that want predictability instead of roasted height. They will find those hands. They always do. Yet at this moment, they stay in place a little longer, ready but untouched. 5 Trader Joe's oven-roasted turkey. Trader Joe's knows how to look genuine. The labels feel soft. The fonts lean friendly. The colors stay warm. Every detail whispers handmade even before anyone checks the meat itself. At first glance, the illusion works because Trader Joe's packaging borrows from visual cues found in real craft foods: muted tones, sketchy borders, textured backgrounds, and small-type storytelling blurbs that mimic farmers' market signs. Under that charm, the turkey appears closer to a kitchen table than a processing line. Behind this effect is a simple rule from the field of consumer psychology: people trust anything that looks slow even if it is produced fast. Food researcher Charles Spence notes that visual cues often override flavor judgments long before tasting begins. His findings explain why rustic labels carry so much weight. The eyes commit before the mouth participates. By that point, expectation becomes the product's strongest ingredient. In our mind, warm fonts trigger comfort. Through suggestion, the earthy color palette signals safety. In that moment, the packaging becomes a storybook of imagined quality. Over that feeling, the shopper begins to believe the turkey will taste fuller and deeper simply because the wrapper implies it. Studies from the Journal of Consumer Research describe this as packaging priming, a phenomenon where design shapes the predicted flavor before the actual flavor forms. The effect works quietly, and Trader Joe's leans on it with precision. Under real light, the turkey settles into a more modest identity. From this angle, the slices look neat and pale. After one bite, the flavor stays mild, drifting away faster than the packaging suggests. The aroma feels faint and short-lived. A soft bend forms at the edge. The texture stays smooth and uniform without the fibers or roasted edges one would expect from something truly artisanal. The entire sensory experience remains light, almost thin, as if the turkey was engineered for consistency rather than expression. By that record, the truth lands clearly. Under that note, Trader Joe's does not make these turkey products in-house. Within this scope, the line comes from industrial co-packers operating at large volume. Public sourcing disclosures confirm that its deli meats follow standard mass production norms, injected moisture color stabilizers, and controlled slicing. Past label-related recalls reinforce this point, not as warnings but as proof that the products share the same logistical systems as any other national grocery chain. The artisanal aura lives on the wrapper, not in the process. Behind the charm, the marketing strategy becomes more visible. Under the surface, Trader Joe's trades heavily on emotional suggestion. Through this lens, the product's personality forms long before taste has a chance to speak. Over that structure, the packaging becomes the star. Food psychologist Deborah Zellner explains that expectations built from design can strengthen or weaken perceived flavor, regardless of the food's actual profile. Her work helps explain why Trader Joe's turkey feels better in theory than in practice. The brand's strongest flavor is its storytelling. Across reviews, customers echo this quiet gap. Looks gourmet but tastes basic. Nice packaging, average turkey, mild and soft, not as rich as imagined, pretty label, plain flavor. These comments rarely sound angry. They read like small disappointments, gentle reminders that modern groceries often sell feelings alongside food. The product performs fine. The expectation performs better. In the end, the essential truth rises image often stands firmer than taste. Under that light, the turkey becomes a case study in modern food culture where design shapes belief and belief shapes satisfaction. Through all of this, the wrapper becomes more persuasive than the ingredient list. Over that realization, the distance between what we imagine and what we eat reveals itself slow but undeniable. After walking through those aisles filled with shortcuts, illusions, and compromises, the mood begins to change. The stores we've visited each made their trade-offs, and the truth behind them wasn't meant to scare anyone, only to sharpen the eye. But even in a market shaped by speed and volume, a few places still try to hold on to something steadier. They don't promise perfection. They don't dress their labels in warm stories. They simply offer turkey that stays closer to real poultry. So now we turn the corner and step into the aisle where honesty stands a little firmer. 6 Whole Foods 365 oven-roasted turkey. Whole Foods puts its 365 oven-roasted turkey right in the center of the chilled aisle, and the difference shows as soon as you stop in front of it. At this shelf, a shopper pauses, noticing how the packs look. Plain white labels, simple trays, nothing dressed in charm or rustic warmth. From this small scene, the honesty stands out before anything else. Under steady light, the slices show faint fiber lines that run naturally across each piece. A soft roasted note settles in the air and holds longer than expected. The edges carry slight browning, darker on one side, lighter on the other. Tiny signs of heat meeting meat. No glossy sheen, no syrupy surface. When bent, the slice stays firm and returns to shape without tearing. Every cue feels straightforward and unforced. That simplicity creates a calm kind of reassurance. The scent travels a little farther than most packaged poultry. The bite opens slowly, carrying warmth rather than brightness. The texture doesn't collapse when pressed inside a sandwich. Warm a slice for a minute in a pan and it reacts like actual poultry edges, tightening color, deepening, not like something engineered for identical portions. Nothing about it feels remodeled or overly managed. Under these standards, the real difference starts before the meat ever reaches the shelf. Within its rulebook, Whole Foods blocks many shortcuts that dominate mass-market turkey products. Less brine, leaner formulas. Short ingredient lists. Fewer stabilizers, minimal moisture binders. More reliance on controlled roasting instead of injections. It's not artisanal, and the store never claims that. It's just a simpler system. In public documentation, Whole Foods posts a baseline that applies directly to its 365 deli meats. No artificial colors, no artificial flavors, and no artificial preservatives. By that policy, synthetic nitrates stay out. Under that guideline, processors supplying the chain must work within strict ingredient boundaries. The rules are plain, widely displayed, and free of marketing poetry. They form a foundation that doesn't need decoration. On the plate, these choices show themselves quietly but consistently. A bite feels fuller because the natural fibers stay intact. Warmth lasts longer because the moisture belongs to the turkey, not to binders. The aroma stays present even after cooling. In a sandwich, the slices keep their structure. In a salad, they hold flavor against dressing. As a snack eaten plain, the taste remains steady without fading between chews. It's not rich, not indulgent, just recognizable in a comforting way. Reheated, the slices tighten naturally the way poultry does when heat revisits real protein. Layered into a wrap, they keep a gentle pull instead of softening into paste. Added to a bowl of grains, they remain visible as food, not as a processed shape. Every outcome feels small but meaningful, a reminder that turkey doesn't need additives to behave like turkey. Across this aisle, the lesson becomes clearer. Good poultry doesn't need storytelling. It doesn't need friendly fonts or textured labels. It only needs room to be itself, supported by a rule set that avoids the unnecessary. Whole Foods doesn't sell emotion here, it sells boundaries. And sometimes boundaries are enough to bring the flavor closer to what roasted meat is supposed to feel like. Under that simplicity, the 365 turkey becomes something practical rather than premium. Slight browning at the edges, light variance between slices, a roasted aroma that lasts a few seconds longer than expected. These are details easy to overlook, yet they're exactly the ones that carry real value. Steven Sprout's famous Market Rotisserie-style turkey I used to walk past Sprouts without thinking much about what they stood for. At first glance, the chain felt smaller, almost modest compared to the big grocery names we've gone through so far. Then one afternoon, a small sign at their deli counter changed that impression completely. It wasn't bold or decorated. It simply listed where their turkey came from and how far it traveled. From that moment, the store felt different. Under this footprint, Sprouts sources its rotisserie-style turkey from smaller regional partners rather than massive national plants. By sourcing closer to home, the meat spends less time in transit and less time cycling through holding rooms. Within that range, the turkey often goes from roasting to packaging within a short window. It's not a marketing claim. It's a logistical reality shaped by the chain's smaller scale. A short haul means fewer hands, fewer steps, and fewer opportunities for the meat to lose its identity along the way. Sprouts builds its entire deli philosophy around the idea that food should be clean by default, not clean, because the label says so. Through this approach, slow preparation feels natural instead of strategic. Under that principle, the processing partners roast in smaller batches. Moisture control is simpler. Additives are limited. The goal isn't to create a flawless uniform product. The goal is to let the turkey stay close to what turkey should be. Their philosophy talks less about image and more about minimizing interference. It is an ethic shaped by stores that grew out of farmers' market culture rather than large corporate identity. In real terms, the pricing reflects that origin. When broken down, Sprouts turkey is not cheap, but it isn't luxury either. By simple math, the cost sits in a modest premium range higher than grocery chains using industrial plants, lower than boutique markets selling branded heritage meats. The number comes from the work behind it: short supply lines, small partners, slower cooking, and tighter ingredient rules. It's a price that mirrors process, not embellishment. Customers don't pay for marketing gloss. They pay for quieter steps behind the counter. By that policy, Sprouts publicly maintains a baseline for all deli meats. No artificial flavors, no artificial colors, and no synthetic nitrates. In public records, the chain also notes that many regions roast in-house or rely on nearby processors working within controlled production windows. Under those standards, the turkey must meet clear ingredient guidelines before it reaches customers. These aren't dramatic promises. They're posted rules that anyone can check. From these choices, the eating experience feels shaped by the origin and philosophy more than anything else. Because of this scale, the aroma holds a deeper roasted note that lands gently and hangs for a few seconds. Through slower heat, the fibers pull apart naturally instead of flattening. A bite shows a steady firmness that doesn't collapse under pressure. Even after a night in the fridge, the flavor stays intact, warm at the center and clean at the edge. In a sandwich, the slices hold their structure. In a salad bowl, the turkey keeps its presence. As a snack eaten alone, the finish stays round instead of fading into neutrality. In the end, the strength of Sprouts turkey is not about taste alone. It's about the store's patience. Through this view, the turkey becomes the result of many small decisions, choosing regional partners over giant suppliers, choosing slower roasting over mass steaming, and choosing ingredient rules over shortcuts. By taking food slower, Sprouts creates a product that doesn't need pretty labels or charming stories to convince anyone. Now that we've walked through every aisle, one thing becomes clear. Roasted turkey isn't just a quick meal. It's a mirror of how stores choose to work behind the scenes. Some chains lean on shortcuts, warm lights, and comforting promises to mask the strain of mass production. Others, like Whole Foods and Sprouts, take the slower path, smaller sourcing, steadier rules, and a level of honesty that doesn't need decoration. This video isn't meant to make you distrust every package you see. It's meant to help you recognize the patterns behind them. When we understand how food is shaped, we stop relying on appearances and start relying on judgment. That shift alone can protect both your wallet and your health. Thanks for watching, and take care of what you bring home.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage segregation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.